And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, today, my expert contributor is John Hanson, and he'll be talking about food and wine. He's got a lot of guests on the show tonight. He's going to be talking about some live theater with Matthew, I keep forgetting his last name. Matthew is DeArmey. And also, there's a restaurant right across the street from the theater. It's magnificent. John's going to be talking about that as well. And my special guest is going to be John Kurth. He's talking about business success through scripting. But before that, stand by for news. Right now, at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 98 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I promised you the news. There's lots of it, so let's get right to it. First off, rival Koreas again show mastery at pulling back from a brink. The Koreas today once again proved their mastery at pulling back from the brink, this time with an accord forged in 2 marathon negotiating sessions over 3 days. Authoritarian North Korea previously refused to even admit to, let alone apologize for, Seoul's accusation that North Korea landmines maimed 2 South Koreans. Yet, the rivals found a way to save face and avert the war they've been threatening but avoiding since the real fighting in the Korean War ended with a ceasefire in 1953. In an artfully crafted statement, Pyongyang provides a vague expression of regret about the blast that allows Seoul to say it forced an apology. Seoul agrees to stop anti-Pyongyang propaganda broadcasts, which gives the North a win it can trumpet at home. Here's a look at how they've pulled off similar feats, sometimes with the involvement of South Korea's ally, guess who? The United States over the years. Back in December of 2010, North Korea backs off from an earlier threat of catastrophic retaliation after South Korea defiantly goes ahead with live fire drills near the country's disrupted Western Sea boundary. This standoff is a result of similar drills by Seoul a month earlier that drew a North Korean artillery bombardment that killed 2 Marines and 2 civilians in a frontline South Korean border island. North Korea saves face by asserting that it didn't respond to the second drill because South Korea conducted it in a less provocative way. Seoul says both drills were the same. And then in May of 2010, North Korea threatens all-out counterattacks after Seoul moves to resume psychological warfare operations to punish the North over an alleged torpedo attack that killed 46 South Korean soldiers or sailors earlier in the year. Although South Korea restores the loudspeakers now being used to pipe propaganda over the border, it does not follow through on its vow to turn them on. North Korea, which denies being behind the torpedo, later makes conciliatory gestures, including hosting the reunions of families separated by the Korean War. Foreign analysts say it is an attempt to improve ties with the outside world and stimulate a flow of much-needed aid. Well, you know what? When you're talking about North Korea, It's sort of like talking about Iran, isn't it? It just kind of sucks because you never know what to expect or what to believe. How about this? Stocks are in a slump. Dow ends down 588 after early 1,000-point slide. You know what? And this is all really due to the economy in China. Now, you'll probably hear me talking about this on Wednesday evening when I'm on John Matthews' show, The Conservative Syndicate, and you can go there at theconservativesyndicate.net. I'll be on there about 6:15 p.m., and we're going to be talking all about this. But for today, U.S. stocks slid again today, by the way, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average briefly plunging more than 1,000 points in a sell-off that sent a shiver of fear from Wall Street to Main Street. Stocks regained some of that ground as the day wore on, but the Dow finished with a loss of 588 points, the eighth worst single-day point decline, and the second straight fall of more than 500. The slump, part of a global wave of selling touched off by signs of a slowdown in China, the world's second largest economy, triggered worries among Wall Street professionals and ordinary Americans who are saving for retirement or a down payment on a house. With the lease on her car up, health insurance worker Deidre Ralph of Wayne, New Jersey, had planned to get a less pricey vehicle and invest in savings. Now, she's having some doubts. That money I wanted to take and put it toward my retirement, said Ralph, 61. Should I? Or should I just have a great old time? The Dow ended up losing 588.4 points, or 33.6%, closing at 15,871.35. As scary as the sell-off was, the Dow declines doesn't even make the list of the top 10 biggest drops in percentage terms. So, give that some thought. But it's a sign that we've got to be careful and be watchful about what's going on and be even more careful about what we do. Well, is there a family feud? Obama caught between Clinton, Biden ambitions. Here's the deal. President Barack Obama is the man in the middle, caught between the White House aspirations of two of his closest advisors, Vice President Joe Biden and former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton. For months, White House officials expected Clinton to be the Democratic nominee in the 2016 election. Some of Obama's top political advisors moved to New York to run her campaign, and Obama appeared to give his tacit approval, saying she would be an excellent president. But that bet on Clinton suddenly looks less certain, with Biden weighing his own presidential run more seriously amid signs of weakness in Clinton's campaign. The White House faces the prospect of a family feud over who will become heir to Obama's legacy. Certainly, he's got something at a stake here. White House spokesman Josh Earnest said today of Obama's interest in the 2016 election. Biden's recent overtures to donors and Democratic officials have led to palpable awkwardness in the West Wing as aides, many with close ties to Clinton, the vice president, or both, try to maintain impartiality. Earnest raised the prospect that Obama could endorse a candidate in the Democratic Party, though others close to the president say it's unlikely he'd publicly put his thumb on the scale if Clinton and Biden were locked in close contest. In picking between Biden and Clinton, Obama would be making the choice between two of the most influential members of his administration. You know what? A lot of stuff going on. It wouldn't be the first time, however, that President Obama has been in a clinch. It's certainly happened before. It'll probably certainly happen again. In the meantime, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to give you more news. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We were talking about the news. Let's get right back into it because, as I said, there's lots of it. So let's get right to the news. Security worry? How to stop the lone wolf attacks. You know, the gunman had an arsenal that he claims to have stumbled upon in a park near the train station, like 3 other men accused of drawing up failed plans for attacks in France recently. The suspect denied any links to terrorism, telling his lawyer he was homeless and only wanted to rob a train to eat. Instead, the assault rifle jammed, and he was tackled and bound with a necktie by 3 Americans and a Briton who were celebrated Monday with France's highest honor. Now, with many lives potentially saved on the high-speed train by quick thinking and courageous passengers, the limits of a continent's worth of security were thrown into relief by a lone attacker during a less sophisticated act of violence. I don't think we can rely entirely on the police, the law enforcement services. They will do their best. We can put in place the best intelligence networks, but somebody is probably going to get through at some stage. And my vision of this is that as citizens, we need to be prepared to think about how to act. Chris Norman, the British businessman who helped bind the suspect, told the Associated Press. We need to have it in our minds because if it had never thought it before, then I probably would have just been sitting in a corner cowering, Norman said. With thousands of Europeans believed to be radicalized by propaganda from the Islamic State group, the legions of security forces guarding the most visible targets, governments are increasingly worried about the possibility of carnage by individuals with little planning in a setting where there is minimal or no security at all. If the attack fails, terrorist groups simply ignore it. If it succeeds, they claim responsibility for the work done by their, got it, brother. Yeah, go figure. If they're brothers, maybe we ought to just get the whole doggone family. How about this? The Islamic State destruction of ancient Syrian temple erases a rich history. This is just devastating. The destruction of nearly 2,000-year-old temple of Militiamen by Islamic State militants erased a symbol of the once rich religious life of Syria's ancient caravan city of Palmyra and left residents, archaeologists, and historians fearful that the extremists will destroy more of the rich site, including an even larger, more ancient temple nearby. The United Nations Cultural Agency, UNESCO, today called the destruction of the temple a war crime. For archaeologists, it deepened their despair and frustration over the systematic destruction of Syria's heritage in the country's civil war, not only by the extremists, but by government forces who have bombed and looted historic sites since the conflict began in 2011. No pictures have yet emerged of the extent of the destruction of the temple. One resident told the Associated Press he saw it after it was blown up Sunday and said it was reduced to rocks on the ground, nothing more. The witness, who goes by the name of Nasser Al-Tayer, said the bombing took place Sunday shortly after 4 p.m. The militants had lined the inner and outer walls of the temple with bottles of explosives more than a month ago, he said. I went to see it not from very close because the Islamic State militants were there and because I was worried for myself and afraid that they will ask me, "What are you doing here?" So I saw it from a distance. He said he feared other ancient sites in Palmyra might be next, though so far no explosives have been placed around them. This is just a travesty. And you know, they are selling some of these antiquities, in case you didn't know that, the ones that they can, and they're taking that money, of course, to support their terrorist activities. Let's go figure. How about this from the police? Ashley Madison hack might have led to suicides. The hacking of the cheating website Ashley Madison has triggered extortion crimes and led to 2 unconfirmed reports of suicides, Canadian police said today. The company behind Ashley Madison is offering a $500,000 Canadian, that's $375,000 U.S. reward for information leading to the arrest of members of a group that hacked the site. Hackers last week released detailed records of millions of people registered with the website a month after a break-in at Ashley Madison's parent company, Toronto-based Avid Life Media Incorporated. The website, whose slogan is, "Life is short, have an affair," is marketed to facilitate extramarital affairs. Toronto Police Acting Staff Superintendent Bryce Evans said the hack is having an enormous social and economic fallout. This hack is one of the largest data breaches in the world, Evans said. This is affecting all of us, the social impact behind the leak. We're talking about families, we're talking about children, we're talking about wives and their male partners. Well, we're only talking about cheaters. That's what we're talking about. You know, I think this is all wrong, no question about it. The extortion is certainly wrong. The blackmail is certainly wrong. But you know what? So is cheating. Not justifying it, just thinking about it. Well, dominating TV, Donald Trump, a ratings draw. Opinion polls are one thing, but Nielsen numbers speak more loudly to television executives. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump's ability to pull in viewers makes him catnip for news programs and wins a level of coverage that feeds on itself. NBC's Meet the Press had its biggest audience in more than a year for its Trump interview on August the 16th. Leading that show's biggest competitors, ABC's This Week and CBS Face the Nation, to feature phone interviews with the New York businessman this past Sunday. After CNN turned Jake Tapper's interview with Trump into a primetime special last week and earned its best ratings at that hour in a month. The network repeated it 2 nights later. 2 Trump interviews on Sean Hannity's Fox News Channel show this month both brought in about 2.2 million viewers, well above his typical audience. Trump is generally considered the biggest reason why Fox reached a starting 24 million people for the first GOP presidential debate earlier this month, the most watched program in Fox News history. That instantly made him a big get for TV producers, and the media-savvy ex-reality show host has eagerly played along. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. You don't want to miss it. First case up is one spouse can contest the other's innocence even after death. I'll tell you all about it after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what, let's not waste any time, let's get right to it. First case, one spouse can contest the other's innocence even after death. Let me tell you about it. The IRS assessed tax on a joint return filed by a couple who had since divorced. Now, the wife said that she was an innocent spouse and that the tax bill was due entirely to her husband, so he alone should be liable for it. The IRS, as required by law, sought to inform the husband to enable him to intervene to defend his interest in the innocent spouse proceedings. But he had died. So here's the question. Did the right to intervene die with the husband, or did it pass to his estate and heirs? Here's what the tax court said. Since the husband's survivors may be harmed by the wife's claim, the right to intervene passes to them. The IRS must make an effort to find and notify each and every one of them. Now, doesn't that just make sense? Makes sense to me, too, yeah. How about this? One more case the IRS lost. The position that was initially reasonable became unreasonable. Here's the case. A woman defeated the IRS in court and asked the court to order the IRS to pay her legal fees. The IRS answered that his position had been reasonable in the case, so it shouldn't owe the fees. Here's what the court said. The IRS's position in the case originally was reasonable, but after new facts were developed in the court, the IRS's central office that specializes in this kind of dispute advised the IRS litigators to concede instead. They continued to pursue the case, and at that point, the IRS's position became unreasonable. Therefore, the woman is entitled to have it paid the legal fees that she incurred after then. That's exactly where you think it should be. It's exactly where it was. They had to pay the legal fees. By the way, those legal fees were over $50,000. You know, that's peanuts when it comes to the IRS. But the thing is, you keep chipping away at them. They continue to do these horrible, audacious things that you and I could never get away with. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. A late receipt of a tax notice gives extra chance to an appeal. Here's the case. The IRS sent a deficiency notice to a couple giving them 90 days to go to a tax court to fight a tax bill, but they had moved and received the notice only 12 days before the deadline. When they didn't file in court, the IRS acted to collect the tax. The couple then asked for a collection due process hearing to argue against the tax bill on its merits. But the IRS said that they had lost the right to fight the tax when they didn't go to court, and that they should be allowed to discuss only how to pay it at the hearing. And this is what the judge said. 12 days is not enough time to file a case in court, so the IRS must listen to and consider the merits of the couple's case at the hearing. And that's just a way you know what? Just common sense, right? That's all it is. You know, normally right now, I'd say, don't you want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things? Well, you know what? Hold on, because I've got something new for you. Okay, so here's the thing. You ever think about this? How to pay the least tax on your Social Security benefits? Well, you know, a lot of my listeners are collecting Social Security, amongst other things, but, you know, they need to know these things. First off, Social Security benefits are taxable and can have the surprise effect of nearly doubling your marginal tax rate, the amount of tax that you pay on receiving an extra dollar of income. How much of your Social Security benefits are going to be taxed depends on your professional or your provisional income. Now, provisional income is adjusted gross income plus 1/2 of your Social Security benefits, plus any tax-exempt interest that you receive, such as from municipal bonds. Now, when provisional income is up to $32,000 on a joint return or $25,000 on a single return, no Social Security benefits are actually taxed. More than $32,000 and up to $44,000 on a joint return, or more than $25,000 and up to $34,000 on a single return, each additional dollar of provisional income causes another 50 cents of Social Security benefits to be taxed until 50% of all benefits are actually taxed. So, receiving an extra $1 of income can cause you to owe tax on $1.50 of income. Give that some thought. You know, more than $44,000 on a joint return or $34,000 on a single return, each additional dollar of provisional income causes another 85 cents of Social Security benefits to be taxed until 85% of all benefits are actually taxed. So, receiving that extra dollar of income causes you to owe tax on $1.85. Not sounding so good, is it? No. Let me give you an example. Let's just say you file a single tax return. You have income of $34,000 from a pension in an IRA accounts and receive Social Security benefits. Normally, $34,000 of taxable income would place you in the 25% tax bracket. But in this income range, increasing income by $1,000, perhaps by taking $1,000 from a traditional IRA to meet a financial need, increases the amount of your Social Security benefits that are taxable by $850. So you owe 25% on $1,850, causing $462.50 of tax to be due. This is $462.50 of extra tax resulting from that $1,000 of additional income is a 46.25% marginal tax rate. Now it's not sounding so funny, right? How about this? What do? Check to see if such a boosted tax rate will apply to your situation. Use tax software to run the numbers or have an advisor do it for you. It will, and if it will, be sure to pay enough income tax through estimated or withheld taxes to avoid underpayment penalties that would add on to this thing. If you're about to retire, consider delaying the first taking Social Security benefits until age 70, at which point your benefits won't be increased, to avoid this boosted tax rate during the years that you're not taking the benefit. When you delay taking the benefits, you'll receive correspondingly increased benefits later on. Now, make investments that don't increase current provisional income, such as appreciating investments that will eventually receive favorable tax gain rates, life insurance products, tax-efficient growth, mutual funds, that kind of stuff. Then take tax-free distributions from Roth IRAs instead of taxable distributions from traditional IRAs while in that boosted tax rate. You'll be glad that you did that. I promise you'll be glad that you did that. Matter of fact, you'll thank me and you'll thank everybody else that you did that. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Wizard of Words, Mr. John Kurth. John is going to be leaving us next week, and so I've got a special day planned for him next week. I just want to, I know he's listening. I just want to clue him in that next week will be a little bit of a surprise for him. So, in the meantime, don't go away. When we come back, we'll be with our own Wizard of Words, John Kurth.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:34 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 97 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. When you talk about hot, this gentleman that's coming on now, our own Wizard of Words, John Kurth, he's hot all the time. He's got hot subjects. He's got hot everything. So let's get him in here and see what he's got to say.
And now it's time for our Wizard of Words, John Kurth, president and founder of Syntactic Sales Scripting. He helps business owners, sales managers, and individual salespeople create winning sales scripts that win more customers. John has more than 12 years of combined international sales experience in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and the United States. Here now is our own John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, helping you obtain scripting success beyond your greatest expectations.
Hey, John, welcome aboard. I guess we're coming down to the wire. You've got today and you've got next Monday, and then we're going to lose you. That's a sad state of affairs for us, but you've been a wonderful, wonderful guest host here with us, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't let today go by without me saying that.
Well, thank you, Robert. I appreciate the opportunity to share some powerful content with the listeners. So today I'm going to be talking about how to it's like a thermometer for your sales call, and this is a way to test the customer reactions to your statements that you use in your sales presentation. Because with your sales presentation and your scripts, you're always going to be evaluating how well each section of the script is working with your potential customers. So there's really 5 different ways customers can react to the statements in your sales presentation. First is outright rejecting your statement. There's ignoring them, and they may not just, do it directly, but there's ignoring what you say, acknowledging that they've heard you, accepting what you say but doing nothing, or taking action. So this is how you test these. What you want to do is the level of response you're getting to your statements is really in direct proportion to the amount of trust and rapport you've developed with your potential customer. Rapport is a deep level of connection with another person, and you can develop it quite rapidly. But depending on your level of trust and rapport that you've developed with that particular client or potential client and throughout the presentation itself will determine whether they reject your statements outright, ignore it, acknowledge it, accept them, but do nothing, or what we all want them to do is to take action. So how you can do this is with each statement in your presentation, you want to test and ask yourself this question: how will this statement or part of my presentation be received? How is it going to be received by the listener, by the potential customer? Because that's one way to test it. For example, if you used a statement, our product improved performance by 1,000%, that might be rejected outright because it sounds so unbelievable. So you have to look at each statement in your presentation and determine how would it potentially be received by your potential customer. That's why in the sales training, and we talk about you got to develop the trust and rapport so rapidly and so early, because the more trust and rapport you develop, the more acceptance you're going to have of your statements that you're using in your presentation. One way to avoid outright rejections or ignoring is to avoid those absolute statements. Absolute statements create resistance. So if you're using our product is the best of them all, well, it may be greeted with skepticism or rejected outright. So there's a timing to those statements as well, but you simply cannot go into your presentation without developing enough trust and rapport. And you need to be aware of that because you have to read the signs, the body language, and the other things regarding your potential customer. I made the mistake earlier in my career. I would ask almost a couple basic questions, and I thought I had developed enough trust and rapport. Then I went straight into the selling presentation. But at the end, nobody bought. I was like, what's happening? Because I had not developed enough trust and rapport. Now, here's another thing you can do after the sales call is over. First, you want to evaluate each script and each sentence according to how is it going to be received on that 5-point scale. The other thing is you want to analyze how the entire sales call went as a whole. So there's 5 different types of sales calls, so you can evaluate how did it go. And then you can figure out if something didn't work out, what could you have done differently. So there's combative sales calls. Obviously, we don't want to get into these, but every now and then you'll run into somebody like that. There's contentious sales calls. It isn't the same degree of hostility, but they're challenging you on every point. There's unemotional sales calls. These are actually even harder to deal with because you have no idea what happened. They were like a robot to your presentation. Then you've got friendly sales calls and synergistic sales calls. So you look on the continuum, combative sales calls, 0 or little rapport, all the way to a synergistic, very positive sales call. That's the deepest or the highest level of rapport. So why do you want to do this? Because after each sales call, you want to get better. But the thing is, when you're making this as part of your process, you will get better. Sometimes you've had some sales calls that didn't go well. And part of the thing is after it didn't go well, you may feel, oh gosh, I didn't do things right. Just a little down emotionally. That's normal. But you have to look at it, take a step back, and analyze what went well and what can be improved upon, because you can always improve your process. So that's why I really want to hone in today on the importance of trust and rapport. You simply cannot have enough trust and rapport. And that's important enough on a one-to-one selling situation. If you're in a group selling presentation, you're selling to a husband and wife, or in a company type of business-to-business environment, you may be selling to 4, 5, 7 people. So you need to make sure you spend even more time developing trust and rapport with those core individuals. It's going to make a huge difference in your success. Another thing I want to share with the listeners is something about empathy, but also pausing to check. Human beings, technically, every human being has empathy. It's an ability that we all have. However, some people are better at it than others. Some people who have a very high level of sensitivity and empathy, some of them are very good salespeople. For some of us, like myself, I had to develop it at a much deeper level. So one of the things, if you just don't do it naturally, and over time, your intuition will improve on getting a sense of how the emotion is going in the particular sales call, and you want to add this additional step. Because if you're not like myself, I had to use a system to get better at empathy. Sounds kind of ironic. I need a system to get better at empathy. But what it is you're using a pausing and checking strategy. So you're going through 5 to 10 minutes of your presentation. You're still talking, but you want to make a mental check. How's the empathy? How am I responding? How are they emotionally responding to me? Because when you do that, you take that time to pause and check, you can tell when you're going out of rapport. You can tell where the emotional connection may be waning. And thus you have the opportunity to re-engage them and get the emotional connection back where it needs to be. Because otherwise you can go through a whole presentation because the first 10 minutes, things are going great, and then you stop paying attention. And you're just focusing so much on the presentation itself, not on the emotional reactions in the room with your potential customer. So when you put in that check every 5 to 10 minutes, checking on what's the level of empathy, what's the level of trust and rapport, then you have the opportunity to make those course corrections. Otherwise, you get to the very end of the presentation and you think it went well and nobody bought, and you get very concerned, what happened? I thought it was going so well. It was going so well at the beginning, but you didn't see the signs when it started to drift, and you weren't able to take corrective action. So the pausing to check is essential. Now, another component on trust and rapport, especially when you're in a business-to-business environment, selling to a community, 5 or 6 people or a committee for that matter. You want to, if there's a larger group, you can focus in on the trust and rapport leaders within the group. One person in, say, a group of 3, maybe there's 6 people in the room, but in the 2 groups of 3 each, there's one person who seems to be leading the group. You can key in on that person, him or her, and develop an even stronger trust and rapport with that person in your presentation, and it will positively affect the other people around them. So there's definitely an art and science to rapport, and the better you get at developing rapport and nurturing it, and also with your empathy, the more successful you're going to be as a sales professional. Since we're on the subject of rapport, I've got some other things to share with you. You can use content to build rapport. We've talked about, you see something in particular in the person's office. Maybe there's a picture of the wife and the kids and the family. You can use that to build trust and rapport. Or maybe the person's an avid golfer. You can use that. You can use anything to develop trust and rapport, but you have to be aware of it. Using that particular content in the person's office is sometimes called a utilization strategy. You use what's there to more effectively develop trust and rapport. Another effective way to build trust and rapport, I'm spending so much time on it because it's so central to being successful with your scripts. So we'll go into that in a little bit in a minute. So if you're interested in learning to be even more successful with your sales calls and to increase your trust and rapport, you can call me for a complimentary free consultation at 949-391-3876. That's 949-391-3876. Robert?
And we've been talking to our own Wizard of Words, Mr. John Kurth. We'll be right back with John. We'll continue with this right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Wizard of Words, Mr. John Kurth. Hey, John, you've got the microphone.
Thanks, Robert. We're focusing on rapport building and other techniques. So here's another important rapport building technique, is using your process to build rapport. Because people have to buy how you sell before they buy what you sell. That's why a clear and well-developed sales presentation is so important. They'll buy how you're selling even before they're buying your product or service. So you want to compare a well-delivered sales presentation to a chaotic sales presentation. If it's chaotic, if it's in the wrong order and sequence, the wrong syntax, the potential customer would be very uncomfortable and even confused, and of course they'd be very unlikely to buy. So even if you're just starting out in your sales career, just having that clear, well-developed sales presentation, you'll be able to develop so much more rapport because the potential customer on the other end of the table is going to say, well, even if he or she, if you look a little on the younger side, wow, she has a great sales presentation here. I'm really liking how she's delivered, very polished, very professional. That's another way to build rapport. And also the systems approach. People have even more confidence in a system. So that also helps develop confidence in the buying process. One thing about the selling environment, we need to look at the space. How is the space being used? So when you come into a particular situation, you need to be situationally aware of the space. Give you an example. If you were going into a client's home, some sales professionals are invited into the client's home. The best place to conduct business is at the kitchen table because most business in a family gets conducted around the kitchen table. If they take you to the dining room, it's highly unlikely that you're going to get the sale. So when you go into the environment, use the space, you could say in the client's home, if you like, can we sit at the kitchen table, please? Most people are going to say yes, but you're using the environment to your advantage. Also, when you're speaking in the corporate environment, just before you sit down, be aware of where people are sitting and where would be more advantageous for you to sit. Because there's a core tenet of negotiation that says where you sit determines where you stand. So feel free and make sure you use everything in the environment, definitely the space, to your advantage. One thing we talk about, getting yourself into a peak state, a peak performance state when selling, because selling can be a little nervous. That's normal. If you have a little nervousness, that's a good thing. But you need to be in a peak state, a more confident state, when you're selling, especially if it's a high-ticket item and especially if it is in a group selling presentation. So one of the most important things you can do is visualization and anchoring. Let me explain. So for visualizing, you're going to visualize a time when you were extremely confident. What did you see? What did you feel? What did you hear? What did you smell? All those details, you're going to close your eyes and visualize it. Once you have that peak emotional experience when you were extremely confident, then you can grasp your thumb and forefinger together and press. What you're doing is anchoring that peak state of confidence in your body, and you can fire it off whenever you need to, because you have to be, as you well know, on your A game when you're selling. You can't sell effectively if you're feeling less than confident. So visualizing a confident peak state where you're in, and you can access it. Why does this work? Because you're reliving this experience that you had in the past of being highly confident and highly successful. Your human mind does not know the difference. The subconscious mind does not know the difference that it's today or it was the event 5 years ago or 20 years ago. So you need to be able to get yourself into that peak state whenever you need to, because your selling depends upon it, and all your scripts will be delivered more effectively when you are more confident. Also, the confidence of your language, the vocal stress in your delivery. So how you stress the language of your scripts, where you're emphasizing it, can make a huge difference in the results. Yes, we're going to have some very powerful scripts, and you have powerful scripts written out, but the vocal stress on the delivery can make all the difference in the world. Some other key things, as you progress in your ability to use scripting for your business, some of the highest level of scripts you're going to use is layered scripts. That's layering one scripting technique on top of the other, on top of the other. And when you layer the scripts in, you get a cumulative effect that's more powerful than each individual technique if it were used separately. So yes, master each script and then see how you can layer them effectively. And once you have them layered in, you're going to become even more persuasive than you were before. Another thing I want to share with you and the audience is the 80-20 rule applies to scripts. I've shared with you on these programs a lot of powerful scripting techniques you can use, and some people may think, well, gosh, that's a lot of scripts to know. It's better to master a few than to dabble in the many. So with some of the scripts I've shared with you, tonality, accumulated yes, those are just a few of them. Pick some of them that you feel very comfortable with and focus on mastering them. And then, when you master them, you're going to be even more effective in the presentation. And one of the highest levels of scripting, and you can become this, it's what's called the invisible script. The highest level of scripting delivery when it's totally invisible to the potential customer. It's like an actor or actress. They've literally become their scripts. That's why the best actors and actresses are paid so well and they're so persuasive, because they've become their scripts. So this is a goal and a target for you, and it's also, you're going to be going for this every single day. How can you become the scripts that you're delivering for your sales presentation on a deeper and deeper level? Once you become it, then it's totally invisible to your potential customer. I can pick it up because that's what I do. And even with the most advanced sales people that I've worked with, sometimes it's gotten so invisible that even I don't pick it up right away. That's really the goal that you're going to want to attain for you and your business when you're delivering the scripts. Robert, some questions you might have.
No, you know what? I just am thrilled just to be listening to you. You know, and you are just a footlocker of knowledge when it comes to marketing. when it comes to presentations, and most of the things that you talk about are things that I've actually lived through, John. And you almost have to learn them to the point that you walk them, you breathe them, you think them, you read them. They become a part of you. But the thing that you never want to do is to make this something that sounds like it was a canned approach and that you're not being real.
Yep, the authenticity is key. So that's right. We've all heard telemarketers who've called us on the phone who have not become their scripts, and it sounds like they're reading a script, and they probably are. That's why it's not working for them.
Oh, yeah. And, John, have you ever had a telemarketer on the phone that you get them off their script, and then all of a sudden they're just totally lost and don't know what to do?
Yes, because they haven't become their script. And we talk about, you've had this experience, when you become your script and you internalize it at such a deep level, then you're able to listen more effectively. Then you're able to adapt and be even more effective in your presentation. That's why it seems so contradictory to people. You want me to memorize the script and become the script? Yes, you do, because it's going to make you more open and even more effective and flexible in the presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to tell people all the time, hey, listen, I can tell you what to say and I can tell you how to make people feel, but you have got to make this your own so that it doesn't sound like this is a canned speech that someone else wrote for you and that you're not even comfortable with. If you don't make it your own, you'll never be successful with it.
Yep, it's that comfort level, and that's why what you're selling impacts your comfort level. If you don't believe in the product or service, it doesn't matter what script you're using, because they're going to read you don't believe in your product or service. That's why many people who do believe in their product or service, the sales professionals, once they buy and start using their product and service, their sales effectiveness goes way up, because it's coming loud and clear through their physiology, their tonality, and their confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's spend a couple of minutes, because I don't want to blindside you on what we're going to do next week, because it's going to be kind of a parting show for you. I actually want to do an interview with you, and I'm going to do the interviewing, and you're going to do the answering. And so we're going to talk about lots and lots of things, including your current career. And I just wanted you to be sort of prepared for it, because you probably won't get to talk about anything else next week.
Okay, I'd love to have the interview.
So, listen, you got about 2 minutes to wrap up for today, so I'll let you have it.
All right, so some of the other things to focus on, and that's the power of, yes, I'm glad to be interviewed, but this is also a technique for your listeners. If you're starting out as a new sales professional, have somebody interview you, because now you're going to come across even more effective, and that's often a powerful way to capture those stories that you can use in your presentation. When someone's asking you questions in a very informal environment, it could be your good friend. Just have them record you, have them record the interview, and then you're able to get those golden nuggets that you're looking for, and then you can capture them. For a client of mine, he had a very long presentation, and he wanted to optimize it. So it was a 2-hour sales call. So I role-played it with him, I recorded the whole thing, and then got it transcribed, because then I was able to take out those great golden nuggets and those great scripting languages that we could use, and then use them throughout his entire presentation and teach everybody on his team how to do that. So recording yourself is a very powerful way to do that, or an interview type of format can elicit that. Another thing, if you're really, really brave, but it's one of the most effective ways to do it, is role play, but videotape your presentation. You'll pick up things so fast. So if you would like another outside expert to help you become even more effective on your sales scripts, you can give me a call for a complimentary 30-minute telephone consultation at 949-391-3876. That's 949-391-3876. Robert?
And we've been talking to our own Wizard of Words, Mr. John Kurth, right here on Robert Cardoza Live. Now, do not go away. We have got a special segment coming up with that little old wine drinker, John Hanson, and special guests of his. We'll do that right after these brief messages. Now, you don't want to miss this. Don't go away. Hey, John, fantastic show as usual, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Robert.
All right, folks, don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:07 p.m. Pacific Time. It's currently 95 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you talk about hot. Boy, have we got a hot show for you right now. We've got that little old wine drinker, John Hanson, waiting in the wings, and he's got guests coming out of his ears. So let's get him in here and not waste any more time.
Yes, who's a fool in the corner crying? I say, a little old wine drinker me.
And now, from the middle of a vineyard somewhere, a man who's never met a grape he couldn't cuddle up to, our resident advanced sommelier, John Hanson.
Welcome aboard. Boy, have you got a power-packed show coming up today, huh?
Oh, yes, we do, Bob. You know, you and I have dined all over the world at incredible restaurants. I mean, I tell you, this next gentleman we're going to bring aboard, I tell you, he has enlightened me to incredible restaurants as well. And you know what? We talk about wine, beer, restaurants, But he's also going to enlighten us about an incredible performance that's happening in L.A. as well. And right next door to that, an incredible restaurant.
Well, before we mention his name, are you getting ready to bring him on? Because if you are, we've got to do this a little more special than that.
Well, we need the proper introduction.
Okay, let's do that right now. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a man who actually got his bachelor's degree at the University of San Diego. He got his Juris Doctor also at the University of San Diego Law School. A fellow who I've met a number of times. I've enjoyed his wine. I've enjoyed his hospitality. And you know what? I would love to be able to call him a friend. Welcome to the show with me and John, Mr. Matthew Diame.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having us today. I really appreciate you getting us on. We are friends. I think we are friends. We are brothers in vine and great cuisine. And today I got something a little special for you. My son Dominic, as you know, is a musical theater guy, and he's in his first professional show, and it's called The Assassins. And we're lucky enough to have with us Zach Lutsky, who's the producer of the show and also stars is John Hinckley, and also one of the standout cast members, David Gallick, who plays Samuel Bick. So the Assassins, AssassinsMusicalLA.com is playing right now through September 27th. Let me introduce Zach. Zach, say hi to everybody.
Hi. Thanks
Hey,
for
Zach,
having me.
how you doing?
Happy to
Zach,
be here.
So, Zach, give us a little bit about your background and how Assassins came to be being produced in L.A.
You know, I actually went to college and became pre-med and actually became a doctor. But during that time, I really fell in love with musical theater, and when I was an undergraduate, did a lot of theater, and then went off and became a doctor and did several other things. But finally got to a point in my life where I wanted to get back to theater, and last year auditioned for a show, and for the first time in about 17 years, got cast as one of the leads. And coming off of that show, I decided that I wanted to do something off the bucket list, which was producing. I've always wanted to produce a musical. And I've been a long-time Stephen Sondheim fan, and a long-time specifically a fan of the show Assassins, which is so brilliant and unique and just turns musicals on its head. And I approached a good friend of mine who's a professional director here in Los Angeles, a guy named Dan Fishback, who also is a Stephen Sondheim buff. And that was the beginning of this collaboration, which is bearing fruit now.
Well, you're a producer as well, aren't you, in television and a writer?
Yes. So on top of being a doctor, I also got involved in writing and producing TV about 10 years ago, and have worked on several shows in the producer capacity, but never back in theater, which was sort of where my roots were. And so, again, this has really just been sort of a fantasy coming true, being able to use those skills that I've learned in the TV world and now use them in my own project, this mounting of Assassins in Los Angeles.
So, Bob, you talk about your show is the intersection of politics and business, right?
Right.
So, Assassins is the intersection between comedy and drama. And I'll have Zach tell you about what the Assassins is. I don't know. Have you ever seen the show Assassins, Bob?
Not that I recall, and but you know what? I'm certainly looking forward to it. Both I love comedy that has drama in it. Hey, stop that.
This is a dark comedy. Zach, why don't you tell us what it is?
This is about as dark comedy gets, but just truly fascinating. It's this idea of, what would happen if John Hinckley and John Wilkes Booth were in the same room? What would they talk about? And what would happen if these different characters from history were able to interact with one another, all with sort of this unifying craziness and these crazy acts? What could that be like? And it's really turns into a social commentary. It's a character study, and through those characters, we really get to look at ourselves as Americans. I think our director said it very well the other day, that we are all promised the right to pursue happiness, and that has been turned into this idea that we have the right to happiness. And that's really what the show is about, is these characters all through history who, in sort of finding that the American dream isn't really available for most people, combined with some background psychosis and turning into these horrific acts. And people have asked me, why today? Why did I want to do this musical today? Something written, 20 plus years ago. And it is very timely with all of the violence and gun craziness that we see. The same type of characters through history, and how they sort of turned their anger and their frustrations towards trying to assassinate a president, and we see that now still alive today.
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, that's not so much a comedy. That's sad. My guess is that if John Wilkes Booth had changed places with John Hinckley, Reagan would not have survived.
Right. No, it's really interesting. They pair all these characters through history together, and you sort of you learn their backstories through sometimes a humorous take. I mean, one of the best examples is the character that David plays, and I'll let him speak. Samuel Bick is one of the less known would-be assassins, but has an absolutely fascinating backstory, and really in our show represents sort of America and the frustrations that most Americans feel. David, do you want to talk about what your character and his background?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having us on today. But Sam Bick was he was a used tire salesman, and he attempted to hijack an airplane and crash it into the White House with the hopes of killing Richard Nixon. And his biggest issue was that the government wasn't listening to the people. And so his idea was he was going to destroy the current government, and everybody would be paying attention, and they would rebuild it into a better America. And he was hoping that famous people such as Leonard Bernstein, Jonas Salk, and Jack Anderson would help rebuild. And to pursue them, he recorded many tapes that were sent out to these folks, telling them of his plans and encouraging them to help society once he destroys it. And he was a very sad figure, but his part in Assassins is done in such a comical way that I think audiences can relate to him and relate to his issues with the government, especially with our current standings, where it's mainly a lot of bickering and not much else.
David, that sounds an awful lot like present time.
Yeah, and it really is. And this was 1974 that Sam Bick tried his attempt. But I've had audience members tell me that they can relate to Sam because of what's going on in our current political setting. That everybody's blaming everybody else in the government, and nobody's getting anything done, and the people aren't being listened to. And that's exactly what Sam Bick's problems were.
Ours too.
Exactly.
That's right, and that's why it's so timely. Is nowadays it's much easier to get your gun and sadly go to a high school or go to a movie theater. But that commentary is still there from the show, that this is what happens when you sort of give this false hope, this false American dream to the public, and they feel so disenfranchised.
So is that part of the premise of the show, to get people's minds to start thinking inside that box or outside the box that creates this tragedy, these tragedies, and this animosity between human beings and what's going on in the world today?
That's the director and I had a lot of conversations about this when we started tackling this material, because you don't want to empathize with these horrible people who did horrible things. But what the show does is try to let you understand how it could have happened, and understand some of the frustrations that were there. And again, understanding those frustrations is understanding America. It's not to forgive these characters because what they did was horrible, but to try to understand what they were going through and understand their processes at the time.
David, this is John. Is there any part in this performance, I mean, the big Dick Cavett and Richard Nixon interview, does that play a role in this performance at all?
I'm sorry, could you? I missed the beginning of that.
Well, when Dick Cavett actually interviewed Richard Nixon during his time in the 70s, does that actually interplay into this performance at all?
It doesn't. No. It's mainly just he's frustrated with the government, so in his mind, he just has to cut off the head of the snake, and that just happens to be the sitting president.
Well, talking about cutting off the head of the snake, I have got to go to a commercial message or I won't get paid. You guys hang in there. We'll be right back with John Hanson and Matt right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own John Hanson, that little old wine drinker. And, John, I'm thinking that we need to get a couple bottles of wine and head out to the theater. What do you think?
Oh, my! This is really intriguing me. Now we're talking about cutting the head of the snake. I mean, that reminds me back to the Kennedys where they killed John and Robert. You know, is that kind of what's going on here, you guys?
The climax of our show is
you don't want to tell
trying
that.
to. Well, I'm not going to give away what happens, but trying to convince Lee Harvey Oswald to join the historical assassins. The killing of Kennedy was obviously sort of the turning point in assassination because it took place on live television, and that changed everything. And that's really why it is the sort of culmination, the climax of this musical. After meeting all these characters, is then coming together fictionally to try to convince this most important of assassinations to take place, and that is it's all about Kennedy.
Oh, I see. Gotcha. Well, you guys are really intriguing me now. I mean, I'm definitely going, Bob. I'm sure you'll probably be right with me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, Bob and John, this is Matt. Let me jump in for a second. Let me just tell you. So, as an outsider who had never heard of the assassins before, who had never seen anything, but having a legal and a tax background, I know Bob has his financial background, it intrigued me because what the message of this is, yeah, every one of these people either tried to kill a president or killed a president, and we as a society view that obviously as a horrible act and as a crazy act. But are they actually legally incompetent? And actually, the background and how the show came to be and some of the studies have shown, they actually characterize these people and classify them into different categories. Pure idealists like John Wilkes Booth, who's doing something, sacrificing himself for a cause, versus somebody like a Squeaky Fromm or a Sarah Jane Moore, who is doing something to satisfy a goal, but really is satisfying a personal need, versus somebody who might just be actually legally insane,
like John Hinckley.
Right, like John Hinckley, like that. Right.
Who I play, John Hinckley, who, I mean, crazy. It was found legally insane, and in sort of researching him, actually watched the movie Taxi Driver 15 consecutive times on a loop, and fell so in love with. So Jodie Foster is a character, although just by name in the show. But there's this fascinating song. Really, one of the pieces of this musical that made me so interested in it, called "Unworthy of Your Love." And you think about your standard musical that has a love song, and there's a man and there's a woman on stage together singing about love, and we have that. But in our version, we have Squeaky Fromm singing about loving Charlie Manson, while John Hinckley is singing about loving Jodie Foster. So it's just this complete twist on the standard musical, which I love.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would encourage people to go to assassinsmusicalla.com and buy tickets, because they've received a fantastic review from Broadway World and another great review today. So tickets are on the run, are starting to sell rather quickly. So if people want to come see it, then I'm going to tell you here how to get a great meal and avoid corkage.
Oh, yes.
Now you're talking. You know what? Now you're talking my language. You go see a magnificent play and go for a fantastic dinner, right?
Exactly. So the beauty of this show is it's got Friday and Saturday nights, and curtains at 8 p.m. And if you've ever been on Pico, it's mostly street parking, which would normally be bad, except there's meters that become available that you can't park at, but that become available at 7 p.m. So you pull up right at 7 o'clock, you have dinner and go to the show. You're great. And, being a food and wine guy, while my son is in auditions and rehearsals and all these things, I have nothing else to do but go around town snacking and eating and checking out all the different restaurants. So I found a couple of great ones that I think people will like. The first is one called The Main Course, which is directly across the theater. The theater is at 10508 West Pico Boulevard. This is at 10509. And Elmer Dills, remember Elmer Dills?
Oh, yeah.
Los Angeles?
Yeah.
He gave him 4 stars. It's a Eastern European grandma cooking you dinner. They have an American Thanksgiving turkey. They have fantastic salads. I had the Hungarian goulash with the egg noodles. Was amazing. And it's very reasonably priced. Most dishes are under $15. and there's no corkage. It's a BYOB restaurant, so you can bring in any bottle you want, and they open it for you and pour it, no problem.
Now, Matt, do they have a wine list if you
They
wanted
don't.
to buy a bottle there?
Nope, they don't. It's
they
a
don't.
bring your own wine.
Okay.
So you bring your favorite bottle, and my friend and I had dinner there, and we had 2 bottles of wine. Went across the theater. Didn't finish them, of course, but went across for a show, and our total with tip was $36.
Matt, I don't believe you didn't finish the bottles of wine. You have never.
We finished them later, but we took some to go.
Finished a bottle of wine, my friend.
Okay, fine, you caught me. My wife was listening.
Okay.
But on Sunday, so for the Sunday show, which is at 2 p.m., right next door, again, literally the next place over to the Pico Playhouse, is a restaurant called John O'Groats, and they're known for one of the best breakfasts in L.A. I think they were voted best breakfast in L.A., and also for their fried chicken. And so they close every day at 3 o'clock. So you can come in, have a wonderful brunch, come next door to the show, and of course it's Sunday, so you don't pay for the meters, and you're great. Have a wonderful time.
Oh.
So what
we
time
gotta
are
go.
show times, Matt?
So Friday and Saturday are at 8 p.m. So they open, the theater box office opens at 7 o'clock. Usually the house opens somewhere between 7:30 and 7:45 for people to go in and get seated, and they generally start right around 8 o'clock. The show's 2 hours generally from start to finish, including a 15-minute intermission.
And then, so are they doing a matinee on the weekend as well?
Yes, so Sunday has a matinee. So between now and September 27th, it will be every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday are evening shows. Sunday is a 2 p.m. matinee. Again, box office opens at 1 p.m., and the house will probably open 1:30, 1:45, and they get everybody in and start around 2 o'clock.
Wow,
So
sounds
first call, 2
fantastic.
Well, that's
Matt,
why it's perfect.
Matt, we have a segment that we always close out with, at least we try to close out with, and it's the wine pick of the week. And I'm going to put you on the spot. Now, in the last couple of weeks, tell us, what blew you away? What wine that was just amazing? Let the audience know what you thought was just unbelievable in the last couple of weeks that you drank.
In the last couple of weeks, all right, I got the perfect wine for you. You're gonna laugh. You being an advanced somm are gonna laugh when I say Sequoia Grove 2012 Napa Valley Chardonnay. Sequoia Grove, for people listening, is one of the stalwarts of Napa Valley. They've been around for years. The Chardonnay is the Wente clone, which is the old Chardonnay clone that everybody loves. That great flavor, classic Napa Valley Chardonnay. Typical retail is $20 to $25. K&L, I think, you'll be at $20. The winery's $25. Envoy Fine Wines, which is great guy Greg Kozlowski down in Irvine. He has some great deals. I got it for $15 a bottle. It was $14.99, and I picked up 2 cases of it, and it was fantastic. I mean, just the mouthfeel, the color, the vibrancy, just perfect summer drinker. This hot weather, you were saying 95 degrees in the Inland Empire.
Yep.
Listen, fantastic. The perfect wine. And it was one of the bottles that I paired, and I actually paired it. It was so beautiful. I paired it to the Hungarian goulash, and it paired well.
Wow.
A beef, red, brown gravy dish with the egg noodles, and it really just the acidity and just counteracted the richness of the dish. It was just balanced and perfect.
You know what, Matt? You're one of the only people other than myself that I've ever heard say that they love Hungarian goulash.
It was my first time having it. I didn't know what it was. My friend said, "You got to try it if you've never had it." And I tried it, and it was funny because it comes with either mashed potatoes and vegetables or the noodles, the egg noodles. And I looked at the lady, and I didn't know what to do. And she looked at me, and she said, "Egg noodles." And I went,
do egg noodles.
"Agreed. All right, so make it happen." So they did, and it was amazing.
But Matt,
so then I went and saw a great show.
Matt, the Cabernet, Sequoia Grove Cabernet is also, I mean, that is an amazing Cabernet.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Cabernet, but their Cabernet is equally as impressive, I tell you.
Yeah, no, they have a nice reserve cab there that stands up to any of the great Napa Valley cabs, and it's made in a older style where some of them become these overripe, fruit bomb, high alcohol. Right. They're really made to pair with food. So Sequoia Grove is great, but to find it for $15, where everywhere else has it for $20 to $25, was like, sign me up. It was a no-brainer case buy. So if you go on envoyfinewines.com, you can email sales at envoyfinewines.com. They'll take care of you. And but it was just a fantastic price.
Oh, I tell you, Greg had some incredible deals on some French stuff too. I mean, I call him Burgundy Boy because he goes to Burgundy like at least once a year, and he gets some unbelievable Pinots from France that are amazing. Go to envoy.com because I tell you, the guy's amazing, and he finds these wines that are just unbelievable, especially for the price.
Oh yeah. You can search. They have a search function on envoyfinewines.com. You can get everything. But I would encourage everybody, assassinsmusicalla.com, buy your tickets and come see the show before it's gone, because it's not, Zach, it's not produced that often, right?
Very rare, very rare. And this is just a 6-week run, so come and join us.
Where are you in that 6 weeks, Zach?
We just finished our first weekend, so we got 5 weeks left. And tickets are selling fast, but we do have lots of tickets that are still available. So come check us out.
Well, I, for one, am going to.
Well, Bob, we're going together then.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Matt, you want to go?
Yes,
again? You want to go again?
I will. My son is in every show. My son is cast as Billy Moore, so I have to be there anyway. So you come and we'll eat and we'll dine and we'll have a great time.
Now we're talking. All right, that sounds like a plan we're going to have to put together here.
I'll bring the sea smoke.
All right.
There you go. He's number one. Matt, we're also going to bring in a little gentleman named Philippe, a French guy. Is that okay?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Is that that little French guy that I know?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah. Now that sounds like we ought to get a room, guys.
Maybe.
I'll get us the driver. It'll be great.
There we go.
Yeah. So we've got 1 minute left, John.
Well, Matt, did you want to say anything else, buddy?
It just this final comment. I was raised going to the theater. My parents have had season tickets to the Amundsen since I literally was 5 years old, and I've seen 6 shows a year for 30 years. I have to tell you, the quality of the cast, each of the actors in this are just so amazing, and I don't say that lightly because we've seen some stuff. They really, really are. I mean, Claire Adams, who's Squeaky Fromm, really does a fantastic job. David does a job. Everybody really put in a lot of hard work, and I think you're going to see when you read the reviews, if you check out the review on Broadway World or some of the other reviews, just doing a search engine, you're going to see these standout performances. Jana Cardia as Sarah Jane Moore.
Sarah Jane Moore.
They really stand out. They're individually and then come together. I mean, it's one thing to have a show with individual performances, but to have them come together is amazing. I'll tell you, Travis Rhett Wilson, who is John Wilkes Booth, absolutely fantastic.
Well,
I'm
looking forward to it, Matt. I'm looking forward to us all getting together, having a wonderful guys' evening. I'm thinking it's going to be, and I want to thank all of you so very much for being on the show with John today. It's been really wonderful. I just love hearing about the Assassins. I always love hearing about food and wine. And so, hey guys, I want to thank you very much. Now, everybody else,
thank you.
All right, everybody else, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to do the birthdays for today, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently still 95 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 98 on its way to 67. But if you remember last week, it was like 108. So this is almost like sweater weather, right? So anyway, folks, guess what today is? I think you already know, right? It's somebody's birthday. Yeah, that's what today is. So let's get to it. And you know what? This person was born in 1942, a Democrat, is a former U.S. Senator, disabled Army veteran, and a critic of the Bush administration. And happy birthday to Max Cleland. Also, here's a guy that we all know, born in 1960, a retired baseball shortstop and third baseman who played his entire career for the Baltimore Orioles. Happy birthday, Cal Ripken. And finally, in 1973, this actor and comedian who became widely known for his popular sketch comedy television series, Chappelle's Show. Happy birthday, Dave Chappelle. And what happened today in history? Well, I can tell you, in 1891, Thomas Edison patents the motion picture camera. That's kind of appropriate for what we were doing today. And also in 1932, Amelia Earhart is the first woman to fly across the United States nonstop from Los Angeles to Newark, New Jersey. And then finally, in 1989, Cincinnati Reds manager Pete Rose is banned from baseball for gambling by Commissioner A. Bartles Giamatti. Can you imagine? Took place in 1989. Boy, how time flies. Well, our quote for today comes from H.L. Mencken, and he says, "A man may be a fool and not know it, but not if he's married." He'll be a fool, and his wife's going to let him know it, right? All right, so let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And you've heard me say this many, many times. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You can control your whole life with a positive mental attitude, so just keep that in mind. Right off, let's get to it. Your life right now is a reflection of your past thoughts that includes all of the great things and all of the things that you consider not so great. Since you attract to you what you think about most, it is easy to see what your dominant thoughts have been on every subject of your life because that is what you have experienced. Now, until now, anyway, because now you're learning the secret. And with this knowledge, you can change everything because you can change your thoughts. That's what I'm talking about. A positive mental attitude. It's everything. Without it, you lose. All right, let's talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is to engage your employees, show them respect. Showing respect enhances a leader's influence and performance, and a worldwide study found that it's the leadership behavior with the biggest effect on employee engagement. Yet, many leaders struggle to show respect to their employees. To become a more respectful leader, try these tips. Ask for help. Collect feedback from trusted friends and colleagues about when they've seen you treat people well or badly. Then, look for patterns. When are you at your best? How could you treat people better? Reflect on it. Keep a journal about when and why you're uncivil. Being more aware of your behavior is an essential part of improving it. And work with a coach. A skilled coach can assist you with uncovering the reasons for your uncivil behavior and taking steps to change it. And then finally, be accountable. Identify one behavior change to work on, then have your team help you track your progress. Might be a little uncomfortable, but you'll change, and you'll be glad you did. I can promise you that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so here's the thing. It is time for our interesting but useless facts. So let's get to that right now. Did you know that the first novel ever written on a typewriter was Tom Sawyer? Yeah, Samuel Clemens. Tom Sawyer was the first novel ever written on a typewriter. Isn't that kind of interesting? I thought so. How about this? You know that if you were randomly inserted into the universe, the chances that you would be on or near a planet are less than 1 in a billion trillion. That is a lot of space in space. Yeah, there is a lot of space in space. Give it some thought. You know, the two people most admired by teenagers in 1983? Can you guess? You're not going to believe it. Eddie Murphy and Ronald Reagan. In that order. Eddie Murphy first. Isn't that interesting? Give this some thought. You know that dogs and cats consume over $11 billion worth of pet food a year? You think that's an interesting industry? $11 billion. That's big stuff, right? Yeah. You know that in 1860, Godey's Ladies Book advised U.S. women to cook tomatoes for at least 3 hours. Now, I'm not sure I know why that's important. It sounds like it would be a great tomato sauce, though. Here's one for you. The Aztecs of Mexico roasted and ground up the cacao bean, mixed it with water, added peppers and other spices, stirred it up to a froth, and drank that pungent mixture that they called chocolate. Yeah, now, you got to admit, that was interesting, right? Sure it was. How about this? You know that the first hard drive available for the Apple II had a capacity of 5 megabytes. Yeah, 5 megabytes. That's nothing. Nothing. Try this one on. Did you know that a typical lightning bolt is 2 to 4 inches wide and 2 miles long. Wow. And you can see that just as bright as ever, right? So how about this one? Did you know that the average computer user blinks 7 times a minute? So has that got something to do with computers or something to do with your eyes? Let me leave you with this. Oh, I already left you with that. Try this one on. Did you know that the average human produces 10,000 gallons of saliva in a lifetime? Do you care? Can you imagine the idiots that have to put this stuff together? Unbelievable. Now, don't go away. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one comes from Mark Lau from Milford, Connecticut. He's asking about startup business losses. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 95 degrees. Hasn't budged there for a while. But we're coming down to the wire, so it's time for us to answer your emails. I want to remind you that We do the best we can at giving you a comprehensive answer to your questions, but sometimes those emails, their facts are a little sketchy. So we do the best we can, but we always encourage you to seek the advice of a licensed professional. You know what? They're generally going to save you more money than they cost you. They'll certainly give you peace of mind, let you sleep at night, because one of the conditions of their licensing is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means if they make a mistake in what they tell you to do, they pay the piper, not you. That means you don't worry about registered mail or tapping on your shoulder or knocking on the door or those phone calls late at night. All you simply got to do is when that happens, you call that licensed professional and say, here you go, buddy. Yeah. Well, as I said, first email came from Mark Lau from Milford, Connecticut. He's asking about startup losses. And he writes, I did freelance work for a startup business that used the cash method of accounting. Then it failed without paying me. Can I deduct my loss? Well, Mark, no, you can't. Even if there is a contract providing for payment, if the business didn't pay you anything, you simply don't report any income from it. You don't get any deduction for financial loss because you don't have really any financial loss sitting there. You may consider yourself to have lost the value of the time and effort that you put into the work, but the value of time and effort is not deductible or even recognized by the Internal Revenue Service, as well as many other things. How about this? My next email comes from Matt Lars. Matt's writing me from Chandler, Arizona, asking about a mortgage deduction. It says, last year I started building a new home to move into. When the home prices started falling, I stopped construction to wait to see what happens in the market. Now, I'm still living in my old home. Can I claim a mortgage interest deduction for the interest on the loan I used to start building the new home? You know what, Matt? Great question. When you start building a new home, you can deduct interest paid on related financing as mortgage interest for a period of up to 24 months, provided the home becomes your main or second home at the time that it's ready for occupancy. You're still within that 24-month window, so the interest that you're incurring will qualify as mortgage interest. You can deduct mortgage interest on 2 homes. Remember that. So for more details about the rules, go to IRS Publication 936. That's Home Mortgage Interest Deductions. Excuse me, you'll be glad that you did that. Next email comes from Elliot Lee, and Elliot's writing me from Hillsboro, Oregon, asking about minimum distributions, and writes, I'm retired with savings in a 401k account, 3 IRAs, and a simplified employee pension plan. That's a SEP, that's an SEP. Starting at age 70 and a half, annual required minimum distribution rules apply to them. Can I take my total required annual distribution from any one of them, or must I take an annual distribution from each? Good question. So, Elliot, here's the thing. The annual required minimum distribution is computed separately for the 401k, but for the IRAs and the SEP, it's computed on a combined basis. So, you'll receive an annual distribution from the 401k in accordance with the plan terms, and you will determine your required annual distribution from the IRAs and the SEP on the basis of their combined balance, and can either take the entire amount from any one of them or divide it among them as you wish. And hopefully that's kind of answered your question for you. Now, my last email today comes from Jenny Lim from Mariota, Georgia, asking about hobby expenses, and writes, I'm developing photography as a serious hobby and have received offers to buy my pictures. If I use the money I receive from sales to buy photography equipment and for other expenses of taking pictures, can I claim a tax deduction for these costs? Well, here's the thing, Jenny. Hobby expenses are deductible in an amount up to the income received from the hobby and thus can shelter that income from tax. But there are many limitations, and hobby expenses are claimed as an itemized deduction on Schedule A of the tax return among your miscellaneous expenses, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that that exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income, or AGI. So, and by the way, only 26% or so of the entire nation actually itemizes their tax return. So you have to itemize for it to be there. So If you don't file a return that itemizes deductions, you'll get no deduction, and if you do, your deduction may be limited by that 2% of AGI floor. By the way, there are many other rules that also may apply here, so check with your tax advisor before going off into the deep six here. Always, always, always check with that licensed professional. You hear me say it all the time? I'm going to continue saying it all the time because it's for your safety and it's for your own protection and your own well-being that you would do that. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, Live 365 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Every single Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. Now, on my next show, my expert contributor is Suzette Mailer talking travel on her series, the IFAB Travel Corner. My special guest, Sean Lefebvre, is talking healthcare, or just about anything else we get into. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Man, what a fantastic show this was. You know what? In the meantime, I want you to stay safe. I want you to be happy. I want you to enjoy yourself and have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody. And good night until tomorrow. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. That'd be 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Good night, folks.